Hello and welcome to Head and Shoulders, where we cover athletes' performances and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. And today we're going to cover Erriyon Knighton. Is he destined to take down Usain Bolt's 200-meter world record? And the way he's running right now, we're going to get into the details. With that being said, don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. We're looking for 1,000 subscribers by the end of July. It's June 28th by the time I'm recording this, and we might do this by the end of the month. Thank you for all the people that have been supporting so far. But yeah, people have been saying shoe technology, all of this other stuff. Man, is shoe technology in a track gonna help a 17-year-old? Okay, let's do it another way. Is shoe technology, how much is it knocking off a person's time? Obviously, shoes are designed to help people get better, right? It's to assist them and enhance their times. That's obvious. But if we're gonna listen to the marketing that's out there, particularly by the same company that has a 20-year deal with USATF for whatever reason, former NASCAR guy that came over the track decided to sell off USATF. I guess they already had a deal with them. So they just said, hey, let's just do this whole thing. But, certain shoe companies, not going to say their name, they like to put things out, and maybe they did, and the other shoe companies just couldn't adjust at the time. All right. But how much is it? How much is a track and how much are shoes knocking off of a person's time? Are they knocking off 0.2 of a second? Are they knocking off 0.3 of a second? Are they knocking off an entire full second? Please tell me. Please inform me through data, the science, and everything. Put the facts down in the comment section below on how much these shoes and a track are knocking it down, because somebody's about to claim, I already know, Erriyon Knighton, he's not going to be able to run that time at Tokyo, a track that's built for the Olympics. A track that's built for the Olympics is not going to be able to help him reproduce that time. Okay, I guess Oregon, with their big N money, might just produce a better track. Okay, fair enough, I guess. But conditions influence that as well. If the conditions are right at Tokyo, he could run even faster. The excitement, the adrenaline that's there, has he peaked correctly? Because he's 17 years old. So if he gets to the Olympics and does nothing else, he doesn't even make it out of the prelims, I am happy with what he's done now. It's a 17-year-old kid, and congratulations to him. Let me say that to him. Congratulations to him. He's busted Usain Bolt's old U20 record twice. And remember, when Usain Bolt first arrived at the Olympics, I don't believe he made it out of the prelims. He might have made it to the semis, but I know he didn't make it to the finals at his first Olympics. So let's cut these kids some slack. I already know people are going to rip this kid apart or whatever later on. It happens every cycle where we see a young kid come up and then people just make up stuff out of nowhere. They're going to accuse this guy using drugs. I'm just, okay. It's just weird. And do I think that he's going to be able to take on that legacy? At least in the 200? Because he could be a 200, 400 guy versus a 100, 200 guy. So there's no guarantee that he could take down the 100. But let's see, can he take that down? The way he's running now, he ran do I have him up in this other tab? Yes. He ran a 1988 and a 1984. And he looked like he got blown out when he ran the 1984 because Noah Lyles actually came out the blocks, ran the curve. Noah Lyles, he did some stuff on this one. He came out so he could win. He's defending world champion. The men's 200 is a pretty loaded field. So Noah Lyles always got to do name recognition. Here's Usain Bolt right here for the people that don't know what he looks like. That'll be weird if you don't know, but hey, it's always new people. And always show these types of videos and channels to people that aren't in track and field. We're trying to reach an audience outside of track and field. That's how you grow the sport. So with that being said, yeah, Noah Lyles, he was able to do something outside of himself and ran that curve. And it made his 1984 look worse than his 1988, but man, he was able to claw himself back in. I think it was fourth or fifth and got third, and he made the team. He is the youngest athlete since Jim Ryan in the last Tokyo Olympics in 1964. Isn't that ironic? The next youngest athlete since the last Tokyo Olympics, I believe that was in 1964, to make the Olympic team. 17 years old. They like to hype up McLaughlin and Mo for what they've done. So we need some hype up for the men on the men's side, or in this case, a boy. Hold on, I got room service right here. All right, I am back. You probably didn't see the delay, but yeah, I had to talk to them. But anyway, yeah, Erriyon Knighton, he deserves his props. And so I'm going to give him his props. He's broken that record. He looks very smooth. He looks like he still has a lot to go. And of course, people are going to discount him and say, hey, it was the track. They said the only reason he got the advantage is because of the track. And in all honesty, why is it saying from this to that? Oh, I need to go to the top list. And let's go over to the men's 200. All right. So what do I think is going to happen at the Olympics this year? So, I mean, this is an open field, more or less. This is as far as who can win, because Noah Lyles looks very human. He looks very, very human. And the way I look at it is Noah Lyles is based on his interview afterward, he said he was 3 months behind on training. That says a lot. And then also, he was able to relax. He said he just relaxed, let it go, and just ran. Do you know that people can run better times when they run relaxed? People that aren't used to, maybe they're more distance runners and whatnot, or they're just outside of track and field. They don't realize, a lot of people, now some people do, is that when you run relaxed in these short sprint races, you can actually run faster times. It sounds unconventional to the people that aren't used to hearing that, but this can produce better times. And let's look at his 200 performances this year. Now, this was in the prelims where he ran a 20.19. Then he 1991, 1974. And look, the tailwind was even less. So he really ran out of himself. He ran a fantastic curve, especially for him. He was still behind, but he ran a fantastic curve for him. And when he's right there in the mix with everybody else, he knows how to close. That's one thing that I'll count on Noah Lyles. If I had to place a bet on somebody, he knows how to close. And he's only lost one 200-meter race in his professional career, I guess, unless you count what, the prelims or something? Prelims and semis. But as far as that, he's only lost one. And that was according to Otto Bolton. I got that information from him. Then we got, not Curley, we got Benarek and Knighton. If we just look at this, we got Erriyon Knighton, Benarek, Lyles. We're going to see Divine, Odudoro, Andre DeGrasse. I think as far as this, it's kind of, it's a slight favorite for Noah Lyles, because if he knows how to get back into his relaxed state, he can take it. I think Erriyon Knighton has a chance to medal, because the last time a 17-year-old medaled, shoot, I lost the note. I had it right here. I don't know where it is. But the last time a 17-year-old medaled, somebody please put that in the comment section below. He actually got third at the Olympics the last time a 17-year-old medaled. Now, obviously, Jim Ryan did not, but there was a boy before that, I believe in the 1950s, that medaled and got third at the Olympics. And he might have gotten it in a 200 here from the US. But with that being said, the sky's the limit. I don't have a lot of expectations from Erriyon Knighton. He's done a fantastic job so far. So if he doesn't go there and do anything better, other than from a, from a, I want to see him do great perspective. Other than that, I don't have expectations, because sometimes I look at this in the 800 for Kenya or other nations. Sometimes the teenagers don't pan out, but we did have 18-year-olds in the 800 when David Rudisha broke the world record in London, and there were teenagers right behind him, 18, 19, and they medaled. So, I mean, anything is possible here. So what I give Noah Lyles, I give him a slight favorite. Bednarik, he said he still has to improve. He still has to improve, and he ran that 1978. That is actually pretty good for him. I think athletes, when they run these races, whether they win or whatever, they probably still think to themselves, hey, this wasn't a perfect race. This wasn't here most of the time. Just listening to interviews, they still are like, yeah, I can improve, I can improve, I can improve. And so that's still a pretty good mindset to have. So Bednarik, I think Oduduru might have a chance to actually come in here and medal. But we'll see. We will see. Because people say, well, Florida produces these fast times, but that's Miramar. This wasn't there. And everything. But we're going to see. I think I would like to see some other countries in the mix. DeGrasse, he knows how to come to a championship. That's one thing I will count on him. So the medals are going to be between Lyles, Bednarik, Oduduru. I think Knighton can medal. As far as, I don't think he can win, but I believe that he can medal. Now, if the other ones slack off, and I don't know if this was a one-night thing where he came up and he had the adrenaline and he was able to get his PRs. That's the thing. That's the only question mark with teenagers, because their body isn't as developed yet. Look at his body. Let me bring up this right here. Look at him. He's still slim. He doesn't have his muscles as developed as the other athletes. Same thing when Noah Lyles, he came out of high school and went pro a few years ago. You will develop more muscles, more muscle mass, and become more chiseled. Usain Bolt even did that. But here's Usain Bolt when he went to soccer. He's quivering in his freaking soccer cleats. He's quivering in his soccer cleats saying, please, no, please don't break my record. And because athletes don't want their records to be broken. They don't want their records to be broken. Michael Johnson didn't want his records to be broken. So I'm sure Usain Bolt doesn't want his records to be broken for multiple reasons. But yeah, that's going to be some time from now. If he does it, or anybody else does it sooner, that'll be crazy. But yeah, Noah Lyles, I think, is for a strong favorite. Let's go over to the men's 100. So the United States men's 100 was basically the Olympic Games. I'm calling it like I see it. The United States men's 100 was the Olympic Games. Fred Curley wound up getting third. All right. Baker got second. And Bromell wound up winning. All right. So the interesting thing is here, nobody else is even close to the US. Now, if they can't run at their top in their max and peak out again, then there's somebody in the mix. But I kind of look at this as in the US sweeps the 100. The US sweeps the 100. Now we got an athlete from Japan that's in this list. And always when a host nation is hosting, they tend to find and focus on training athletes and maybe the pressure of the athletes themselves to start, performing above and beyond. And here's one athlete right here from Japan, Yamagata. So we'll see if Yamagata can break 19.9 and actually get into that mix. If he can break 19.9, he might be able to steal a medal right there. We got some athletes from South Africa and Italy. But Jamaica, I remember the announcer, he even said, Johan Blake has broken 10 seconds or something. Either that, he said it during that time or before the race began or something like that. I think it was right after he broke the 10 seconds and the time was 9:98. And then he said, And let me click on Johan Blake so we have the name recognition. I'll go back to Yamada as well, or Yagata. And then he said, well, that's the best we have. And I literally felt his pain. I felt his pain. I literally felt his pain. Yamagata. Here he is right here. Name recognition. That's Kuryu. Here's Royata. So with that being said, I felt his pain. I really felt his pain of, yeah, that's the best we have this year. The talent is not there, or the hard work ethic is not there. It's pretty much more consistent on the women's side. We have a Kenyan athlete. Oh, shoot. Amanyala. That's what he uses on his tag most of the time. A Kenyan athlete here. Amanyala. Let me actually bring him up so we can bring him on this. Let me pause this for a second. All right. I had to bring this one up for you guys because I need to have this name recognition. I don't want to bring up an athlete and not bring them up. This is very important for the sport to make sure that we have the name recognition to these athletes. Here's Amanyala right here. He won the Kenyan Olympic trials. He ran a 10.04. Obviously, that was at altitude, but he ran his 10.01 in Lagos, Nigeria. So that was not at altitude. This guy is having a phenomenal season, setting the Kenyan records and everything. And for Kenya, running 10.0 something there, the announcers at the Kenyan Olympic trials did not really catch this. They were talking about something else. Even the comment section of the people, they were like, wow, this guy is running, these guys are running some of the fastest times in the history of the nation. And they're over here talking about something else. I don't know what the announcers, they're starting to remind me sometimes of the US announcers, where they'll go into the life story of somebody, and then there was clearly an athlete that wasn't in their script, and they don't talk about the athlete barely at all. So this is like one of those times, except he should have been a clear favorite because he'd already run this national record early back in March. And Lagos is not at high altitude. It's at sea level. We have Edodike. He is running really well. And this is running really well for the rest of the world. So by US standards, people are going to look at this and say, wow, 10 seconds, we got to put some respect on the other nation's name too. But as far as the 4x1, when it comes to that, the US just complete blowout to everybody else. If, and this is a big if, they can get the baton around, Here's Fred Curley. I remember I mentioned him earlier, name recognition right there. But if they can get the baton around, okay. If they can get that baton around, Trayvon Bromell has been on a 4x1 before, so he should have some experience. Everybody else has not had the experience as far as Team USA being on the 4x1. So let's see what happens in this next month leading up to the Tokyo Olympics and then being in Tokyo. Can they get it around? Because just like the Jamaican women are dominant on the women's side, anybody else saying otherwise is really just smoking. There's nobody even close to them. Is the same way that the United States men are just well and above. Look at this list and look at how dominated it is. We have a huge pool to pull from on this list for the 4x1. The biggest question will be, can the United States get the baton around? So many times they haven't, but I think they haven't because they had the pressure of Usain Bolt. I think that was really what it was, because the United States didn't really mess up baton exchanges before Usain Bolt like that. It wasn't as consistent, but year after year after year, the United States somehow flubbed up the exchange and they just couldn't get it, and or out of the zone, dropped the baton, missed the baton pass. It just, the 4x1 is a great event because things like that can happen. And it's a high emotional event. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree or disagree? I want to just recognize all the people here. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below whether you agree or disagree. I believe that Erriyon Knighton is going to be able to take down that 200 world record eventually. He's only 17 years old, barring any injury, how he looks and how smooth he runs. That's the thing. He runs very, very smooth. Obviously, he can improve on his form. He's 17 years old. Okay. He can still improve upon his form. He's still growing in his body, developing. So he's got a good future ahead of him. And Noah Lyles went pro right after high school as well. But in my opinion, I think some of these athletes should, instead of going pro, run at least 1 year college. That's what I think should happen. I think they should run 1 year college based on all of the people that I've seen and the data that I've looked at. A lot of the athletes that go pro right after don't really pan out when they come out of high school. That's the only thing. Now, some athletes do, like Noah Lyles. He's got a world championship under his belt, world championship title, and he's still pretty dominant in the 200. But a lot of the athletes don't pan out, and I really hope that Knighton does pan out. I'm just saying. So I really hope that does. But yeah, is he destined for Usain Bolt's 200-meter world record? I believe so. I want to see if he's a 100, 200 guy versus a 200, 400 guy. And no, not because his coach has run him in the past now. Because, yeah, he's been on the 4x4. Yeah, I do have the correct athlete here. I should have just looked at the time. He's running 4x4. He's running fast, 100. But that doesn't make him ultimately saying, hey, because it's too early to say whether he is. He might even have the depth to do 100 to the 400. He might be like a Sharika Jackson that they have training one way. Because remember, Usain Bolt used to run 400s. And then he told his coach, hey, if I run a XYZ time, put me in the 100. I don't want to run the 400 anymore. That just happens. So we don't know what type of athlete. Now we could look at his turnover and see if he's more of a 100 or 200 guy, and maybe I could do that in a future video. Just look at his turnover and see what he's most likely an athlete of. But as far as this early in his career, he could still go either way, being a 100, 200, or 200, 400 person, or he has the talent to do 100 to the 400. That would be amazing, and I would love to see something like that out of these athletes. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'll catch you all on the next one. Yeah.